Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another fragrance battle video for you. You guys really seem to like when I do these, so I thought I would do another one. And if you're new to my channel, this is basically where I take fragrances that are somewhat similar and I pit them together and tell you what the differences are and which one I would pick if I could only choose just one. So if you haven't already subscribed, I would love if you would consider heading on down and hitting the big red button and becoming part of our little fragrance family. And without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay guys, so my first fragrance battle is going to be Princess by Kilian and Love Don't Be Shy by Kilian. These are the two that I probably get the most questions about. Which one is better? How do the marshmallow notes differ? Is Love worth the money? So I'm just going to kind of quickly tell you a rundown of each of them, and then I'll tell you which one I prefer or which one I would recommend more. So first of all, Love by Kilian was a blind purchase on my behalf. This is a very super sweet, caramelly, sugary, gourmand fragrance. It's very bubblegummy sweet, almost to the point that it could be cloying. If you have to love sweet fragrances to like this. If you've ever smelt those pink bubblegums that have the little comics inside the wrapper, I will insert a photo for you. That's what this smells like a little bit, but this is obviously prettier and more sophisticated. It's really beautiful. As you can see, I have put a little dent in the bottle. I wear this one when I want to feel bold, when I want somebody to smell me and I want to be very loud with my fragrance, because it is quite a loud scent. It doesn't project super far, but I know that it does create a nice little bubble and that people around me will be able to smell me, and I'm going to smell just incredibly sweet. There are also some floral notes in here. I believe there's orange blossom, and I think there's a few other notes, floral notes as well. But essentially what I get from this is just incredibly sweet caramel. Layered, or Be Layered, makes a dupe of this called Caramel Overdose, and it is eerily similar, very similar. So if you want to try this, and you don't want to fork out the price, get Caramel Overdose and see how you feel. And if you're head over heels in love with it and you want something even better quality, then I would get this one. So this one also retails for about 300 Canadian dollars. That's the other thing. The bottle is absolutely beautiful. I love it. Moving on to Princess. So this is one that actually I didn't love when I first smelt it because I just wasn't wowed by it, and also I didn't love the performance when I first got this one. It took a couple of weeks of wearing it for it to grow on me, and then I ended up really liking it. So this is more of a soft, cozy, feminine scent. This is more of a fluffy marshmallow, where this one is just your super sweet, intoxicating, I just walked out of a candy factory marshmallow. This is your cozy, sensual, tea, fluffy, I'm laying on a bunch of clouds marshmallow, if that makes any sense. This one, unfortunately, I think is discontinued. I have heard that it's discontinued. I don't know for sure. Don't mark my words, but it seems like it's sold out everywhere, and I have heard from a few people that it is discontinued. If that's the case, I will be getting a backup because I do really like this one. If I had to recommend just one, I would say it really depends on whether you want something fluffy and sensual and cozy and more everyday appropriate. And if that's the case, then I would say the Princess is the one for you. If you want something bold and loud and sugary sweet, like you just walked out of a candy factory, then Love by Kilian is the one. My personal favorite, I do have to say, I think I prefer Princess. I have to say I think I prefer Princess only because this one is more me. Like, I like sweet scents, but I don't necessarily want to smell like a piece of bubble gum. You know what I mean? Not that this smells like a piece of gum. This is beautiful. It's just that I want to smell kind of like cozy, sensual, pretty, fluffy. I don't know. That's just my vibe. I very much like those like soft scents. Like I like my Mon Guerlain, which is very like cozy, lavender, vanilla. Yeah, so this is just more my vibe. That's all it is. It's totally personal preference. But yeah, in terms of performance, I think the Love is definitely stronger and longer lasting. Yeah, and being that this one is also discontinued, I would say if you can get your hands on it, get your hands on it, because there might come a time you won't be able to. So that's my take on those two. Okay, so next on the list, we have a couple of fragrances from MAC, and these are both really new to my collection. We have MAC Creme de Nude, which is a really powdery caramel vanilla scent. It's again one of those more soft, fluffy type of scents. And there is also a hint of some sweet neroli in the opening. And then we have MAC Velvet Teddy, which is more of a honey tobacco, boozy nighttime scent. And I will just be real quick and tell you my personal favorite is MAC Velvet Teddy. And the reason for that is that, for one thing, MAC Velvet Teddy has way better performance than the Creme de Nude. I have compared them both on each arm, and the Velvet Teddy lasted at least a couple of hours longer than the Creme de Nude. The other one is that, or the other reason is that, although this is a beautiful, powdery, sexy, seductive kind of a scent, it reminds me a lot of Grand Bolo from Xerjoff. And if you guys have been watching my channel, you know that I used to have Grand Bolo, and I did declutter it because I just wasn't in love with this scent. It's a pretty scent. It's kind of like an elevated version of Juicy Couture, but it just wasn't for me. And somehow, even though the notes are totally different, they both have caramel in them, but even though the notes are totally different, this one really smells like Grand Bolo from Xerjoff. So if you want a Xerjoff fragrance at a fraction of the price but with not very good performance, I would recommend Creme de Nude. I have heard a lot of people talking about this one, and I do like the scent. Like, I'm kind of, to take the lid off here and smell it, I'm kind of at odds over this one. Sometimes I think I'm going to declutter it, and then I don't know. I'm really on the fence about this one, actually. It's quite nice, but I literally sprayed about like 10 sprays the other night, and I still felt that I needed to go over it with another perfume to amp up the performance. So I just wasn't impressed with the performance and the scent itself too. Like, I feel like obviously if I have other fragrances in my collection that I love so much more, why am I going to hold on to that one? So anyway, I definitely prefer the MAC Velvet Teddy. This one, again, like I say, is just a beautiful honey tobacco. It's so good. It has a little bit of a masculine vibe to it. That tobacco makes it smell kind of masculine. God, it's so sexy. It's so nice. And I think I've heard some people say they didn't like this one. I really like this, you guys. I think it's so good. And it's like, it's kind of like one of those boozy nighttime, louder-ish scents. It's not your everyday pretty girl perfume. It's a little bit different, which I really like. And also good performance with this one. So that's my take on these two. So I hope that that helped somebody. So the next two fragrances I'm going to compare are Chloe Nomade and Kayali Citrus 08. And the reason I'm comparing these two is because they are in the same fragrance family. Both of them are citruses, both of them are fresh, both of them are a bit of a chypre type of a fragrance. They both have oak moss in them. They both have a couple of those like underlying masculine, earthy, oak mossy kind of vibes, which I love. I think that's why I like the citrus so much, because it's not just your everyday like grapefruit citrus scent. It's got that little bit of that chypre quality to it, which I really find very beautiful and very sexy. So I wouldn't want to pick between either of these. I'll just tell you right now, I like them both equally. If I had to give one of them up, it would be a really difficult decision. And it might come down to performance only, in which case Chloe would win, because Chloe has undoubtedly better performance than the citrus. The citrus, okay, let me just tell you what they smell like first. So Chloe is has a little bit of a fruity opening. There's a little bit of Mirabelle, I believe, in the opening, which is a yellow fruit. There's also a musky quality. There's some florals, there's some citruses, and there's oak moss as well. But this is essentially just a fresh, musky, feminine, beautiful, citrusy, refreshing fragrance. But it also has a little bit of a masculine quality to it because of that oak moss. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's so unique. It's so pretty. It has a sexiness to it. And this actually lasts for quite a long time for being the category of fragrance that it is. I believe this is an eau de parfum as well, but this lasts for at least like 5 or 6 hours on my skin and on my clothing. So it's a very beautiful, great scent for the summertime. The Kayali Citrus is more of a rose scent. This is a grapefruity rose scent that also has some of that musky quality. I think there's also tonka bean in here. And there's, not that it smells vanilla-ish at all, but I think there is some in there just to kind of ground it. And then this also has a bit of that oak moss as well. So this also shares kind of that chypre, slightly earthy quality that Nomade has. A lot of people say that Nomade is like a hippie-ish scent, like it smells like a free spirit, a very free-spirited, like earthy type of a woman, and I think they mean that because it does have a bit of that earthy quality. Kayali also has a bit of that earthy quality, but this one to me is more like, I don't know, it's so pretty. It's so sparkling. It's like a sparkling grapefruit, oak mossy rose musk scent. It's beautiful, you guys. It's really beautiful. If you haven't smelt it, I highly recommend it. My only complaint is the performance is not great. I will be very honest. I get about 2.5, 3 good hours where I can smell it quite strongly and it's projecting a bit, and then it kind of just is like going away. So that's my only complaint with that one, but it doesn't deter me because I love the scent itself so much. I just wish that they made like a hyper concentrated version of this one. Like if they made this one in an extrait de parfum, I would be all over it. So again, I can't pick a favorite, but that's kind of the differences, is that I think the Chloe is more of that like barbershop shaving cream masculine vibe, where the Kayali is more of a sparkling grapefruit, uplifted, not so masculine, very, very feminine. So that's the difference in those two, and they're both a tie for me. So the next two I'm going to compare are my beautiful little poisonous apples. I call them that because that's what they look like. One of them is Hypnotic Poison from Dior. This is the Eau de Toilette, and Hypnotic Poison from Dior that you can't see the writing because the juice is so dark. And this is an Eau de Parfum. I specifically got the Eau de Parfum because I found the Eau de Toilette to have not very good performance, although some people think it has good performance. Myself, and I know Gabby loves perfumes, found the Eau de Toilette to be not very good performing. I wish I had the Eau de Parfum of the Hypnotic Poison, but I am having a really hard time finding it, so please keep your eyes out for me. I would love to get an EDP of the Hypnotic Poison. So the reason I'm comparing them is because both of them are sweet, sexy fragrances. Both of them are from the Poison line, and both of them are Dior, and they look alike. That's pretty much where the similarities end. Hypnotic Poison is a vanilla almondy type of a scent. Some people say it's got like a marzipan type of a feel to it. It's almost a little bit plasticky, almost a little synthetic, play-doughy, powdery. It's a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. To be honest, I'm sick of it. I've told you guys before, I'm very tired of this one because when I was younger, I wore 2 full bottles of this, literally 14 years ago. I'm not even kidding with you. 14 years ago, this was my signature scent, and I went through 2 full bottles of it, and that's why to this day I'm kind of tired of it, because it reminds me of people and places, and just like I'm not there anymore, you know? So I've kind of gotten sick of that one, but I can't bring myself to get rid of it because it is one of the most beautiful, intoxicating, seductive vanilla scents I've ever smelled in my life, and I love it. And every time I do wear it, it reminds me why I like it so much. So I can't get rid of it. Also, for being an Eau de Toilette, this has really good performance. It outperforms a lot of my Eau de Parfums, so that's a really good one. The Poison Girl is more of a sweet orange creamsicle vanilla, so it is still very gourmand. It's very sweet. It's much sweeter than the Hypnotic Poison, and this one is a little bit more youthful. This one smells like you could wear it if you were in your teens, and you could wear it into later years, whereas I think the Hypnotic Poison is a little bit more mature, and this one just has a much more flirtatious vibe. This one is like your sexy, flirty, date night type of fragrance, where I think your Hypnotic Poison, although this is very sexy and seductive as well, this one's not so much like overt or like in your face sexy, if that makes any sense. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. If I was going to a club, let's just put it this way, I don't club anymore, but if I did go to a club, I would wear the Poison Girl. If I'm going for a nice date with my significant other, I'm gonna wear Poison, or I might pick this one too. It just depends what kind of vibe you want, but I hope that that helps a little bit. In terms of performance, I actually haven't had a chance to wear the Poison Girl a whole lot. I really need to make myself wear this. I can't tell you how long this lasts. I only know that it lasts better than the Eau de Toilette because the Eau de Toilette disappeared in like 2 seconds on my skin, where this one hung around a little bit longer. But I really do need to wear this one a little bit longer and experiment with it. But again, I love them both. I don't think I'd want to be without either of them because they're so different. They're so similar and yet they're so different. So I don't want to call it a tie. If I could only pick one, I'd probably go with Hypnotic Poison just because it's my OG and it's mature and it has great lasting power and it's a classic, but I really wouldn't want to have to pick. And last but not least, we're going to compare 2 of my Vie Est Belle fragrances. I'm just going to throw it out there right now. I did, if you don't see my Vie Est Belle Intense sitting here anymore, it's because I actually traded my Vie Est Belle Intense for another fragrance that I have coming with one of my viewers. So I will tell you guys which one that is. I think it was a pretty fair trade. These are the 2 Vie Est Belles that I still have in my collection. I have Vie Est Belle Eclat and Vie Est Belle Intensément. Intensément is different than the Intense. A lot of people ask, aren't they the same thing? No, they're completely different. So the Vie Est Belle Eclat has a little bit of that Vie Est Belle DNA left over. It's not so powdery. It's not so heavy, patchouli. It's a lot brighter. It's like a bright floral, more sweet version of the original Vie Est Belle. It's more appropriate for daytime, I think. And it's also It's very sexy and very pretty and very mass pleasing. I think most of the Vie Belles are quite mass pleasing, except maybe the original. The original I think some people found to be too heavy. If you don't care for the original Vie Belle, please don't let that deter you from checking out the flankers, because I have fallen in love with a lot of the flankers from Vie Belle. So yeah, this is kind of a sparkling, bright, happy orange blossom, not so powdery and like dense version of the original Vie Belle, and I really like this one. This one is more of a raspberry gourmandy version, and this one is closer to the original than the Vie Belle Eclat. This one smells a lot like the original, except less powdery, less patchouli. There is patchouli in this one, but not so much. And it's got this beautiful sweet raspberry accord that I normally hate. I normally don't like raspberry in my fragrances, but it works in here. It works in here so well. It's like a beautiful sweet vanilla raspberry, and then it still has some of those other notes from the original Vie Belle. And this is absolutely intoxicating, beautiful, feminine, sweet, pretty. Date night, daytime, everything. I love it. This is my new love. I haven't worn it at all since, I've only worn it once since I got it, because I'm weird that way. I'm like saving it for something, and I don't know what I'm saving it for, but maybe I don't want to be reminded of 2020 when I wear this. But this is a beautiful, beautiful scent. So I think the clear preference here is Vie Belle Intensément. If I could only pick one between these two today, absolutely, without a doubt, I would go with the Intensément. It is my new favorite flanker. It's one that I hadn't smelt up until recently, and I just fell totally in love with it. So that being said, the Eclat they're both really good. Like, it's hard to pick, but I do think my personal preference is definitely the Intensément. Lasting power, both of them are really good lasting power. I'm tempted to say that the Intensément lasts a little bit longer, because this one does have a bit more of that vanilla patchouli gourmandy heavy vibe, where this one's more floral. So this one's more of like your bright floral scent, where this one's more of that sort of traditional Vie Belle vibe. But yeah, they're both beautiful. Those are both 50 ml bottles, and you can tell that I've put pretty good dent in the Eclat, and I've hardly put a dent in the Intensément. But this one I would repurchase in a heartbeat, and if it was discontinued, I would buy 2 or 3 backup bottles right now. So that's my thoughts on those two. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this little fragrance battle. Please let me know down below if you agree with my choices, or would you have chosen something different, and why. I'm really interested to see what you think. And if you haven't already, feel free to head on over and follow me on Instagram, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye for now.